Hi, my name is Pam, welcome back to my channel, and this week we have a reading vlog. So I haven't kind of read consecutively in a little bit. I haven't had too many days off put together in the last couple of weeks, so I have been very low energy recently, hence why I've not read much and not finished any books. But this week I'm starting the week with a couple of days off, and I'm working like a decent kind of mix of shifts. My sister's come home to visit, the fair is in town, so I kind of wanted to do a little realistic reading week little vlog to go up. Originally I was going to do it just because I've had 4 days off, because I have today and tomorrow, and then I had the weekend off because I took a sick day on Saturday because I wasn't feeling great. I strained myself a little bit and I wasn't feeling good, but Saturday was very much a rest day and like a cleaning day, and Sunday I read like a chapter. So there wasn't much for me to talk about, but yeah, this is where we're starting. Basically I'm just going to kind of go through the motions of this week and kind of give what updates I can. I'm not gonna sugarcoat how slow I read and how tired I am with my job, but the main culprits that you will see in this week will be Realms of Wrath and Ruin, and The Fiction Between Us, which is up there. Both of them I am about halfway through, and both of them I really want to finish and get out of the way, and then potentially I might start another book if I get them both done. Realms of Wrath and Ruin, I can see myself getting done in the next couple of days. I'm about 150 pages from the end, and the plot has kind of started to pick up. The last time I think I talked about it, I talked a lot about how I felt that this one was slower as a sequel and that not as much was happening, and I still stand by that because I'm, 150-ish pages from the end and it feels like stuff has only just started kind of occurring in the last like 50 pages or so. And this is like on my Kindle, it's a 507 page book, so that's like 200 pages of not a lot happening. I felt the first 100 pages was strong, but then from page like 100 to like 300 were kind of dead. Like I feel like so much unnecessary stuff happened, and I just wasn't enjoying myself. And I know in the last time I talked about this, I kind of wondered if maybe it was because of how much slower I've been reading this in comparison to its predecessor, but I'm a slow reader by nature. It can take me like 2 weeks to finish one book sometimes, depending on like my energy levels. So, and I can still enjoy those books. So I think it's just something wrong with the pacing of this and the choice of like scenes and stuff, because I have talked about how I liked the parallel storylines, but I feel like some of it dragged on a little bit too long. I feel like there was a lot of stuff that could have been wrapped up sooner, and a lot of stuff that has been mentioned or has kind of followed along from the first book that we've not talked about enough. Like there's been so many good concepts that just haven't been explored whatsoever. Like we literally start the book with like a mass amount of people becoming refugees to like the Jadian kingdom, and aside from a few offhand mentions, it's not explored whatsoever. And it's like there's snippets of it being kind of like talked further about, like attitudes towards refugees and like government attitudes towards refugees and like the wealthy versus like the lower class. So much of that has started to be explored, but then it kind of gets cut off and it's like forgotten about and thrown to the back burner, and then we never hear about it again. Like it just feels like there's so much that's here that's like, there's so much potential, but I feel like there's so much lost potential because so much tries to happen. You know, it's kind of, I feel like it's being hit by like second book syndrome, where most of this book feels like just a middle point where like stuff is kind of happening, but not enough is happening that it feels like actual plot is going on. It's like, logically, I can tell you that, yeah, we've moved forward. We've not moved forward quickly though, and I feel like not enough has happened in this to constitute it being its own book. Because I feel like there's so much in this that could absolutely have just been cut out and like mentioned. It did not need to be explored in detail. Like, I don't know how to best explain why I'm having issues with this book, because I don't really want to go into too many spoilers, and also it's very much just like the feelings that I'm getting. Like, there's not even necessarily too much specific that I can pinpoint. It's just like when something happens that I feel like doesn't need to be there, like it feels like it doesn't need to be there, but like it's taken me so long to read this book that like at the beginning of the book I have like forgotten so many things that happened. I went back through my notes and I remembered some plot points that were brought up at the beginning that we've not mentioned again, that I forgot about it. I was like, surely we shouldn't be doing that. Like, I feel like if you're gonna bring something up, at least maybe mention it a couple more times, especially if it's as major as some of the things at the start of this. Like, I don't know. It's kind of disappointing me as a sequel, which is disappointing. But I'm gonna finish it. I want to, and the likelihood is I will read the third book whenever that gets published, just because I'm at the point where I want to see this through to the end. It's just, as a sequel, it's not as good as the first one. I don't know what rating I'm going to give it yet. It's sitting at 3 stars, but I could really, really see it going down to a 2.5. It's mainly a 3 because the romance is still relatively strong, but I feel like the slow burn is dragging out. I feel like there's a difference between slow burn and like milking it, you know, and I feel like we're edging, like we are on the cusp of like milking it, because so many of their problems could be fixed if they just fucking spoke to each other, and it's pissing me off that they're not communicating. It's annoying me. But like, you know, they have a few cute interactions here and there, but then they're both convincing themselves that they can't be together, and it's like, just fucking speak, just sit down and have an actual human conversation, you freaks. Like, it's pissing me off. So that's where I'm at. That's why I could see it going down to a 2.5, because at this point, if it keeps going the way that it's going, it's just gonna annoy me, and that's gonna make me lower my rating. Like, stuff has started happening though. Hallie's been kidnapped and Case has found some people, so I think we're gonna have to go on a rescue mission. The second rescue mission of this book, might I add, because the first one was a prison break that really didn't need to happen. So, yeah. Talk to you later. Hi, you can see me in my little mirror. I just wanted to show off some stickers that came in today. Recently I did like a massive bulk order of journaling stuff, and I found a couple of like small little shops on Etsy that have absolutely beautiful stuff, and I just wanted to show off what I got, because I think it's all really cute, and I will put the links to both shops in the description. So we'll start off with this one because there's slightly less, but this is Katia Hinnick, who does like really cute like folklore forest stuff. But these are the little freebie stickers that I got. This cute little mouse. This really sweet little bear,
just lounging. And a hedgehog. Look at how cute that is. And then this is still in a pack, but this is just a pack of different little like die cut stickers, I think is what they're called. But we have a couple of robins, these cute little guys, a few different moths. I'm not sure what kind of moth this is, but I know this is a Luna moth. I think Luna moths are really, really cool. But yeah, these are both really neat. There's this little butterfly. I think this is a starling. I know my birds somewhat because I bird watch with my mum usually in the spring, but hummingbird. I forget names of really common birds sometimes. And then this cool little beetle. Look at that. It's cool. And then I got like a multi-pack of like sticker sheets. So there's a couple in white and then the rest are in black. Okay, so we've got The Witch's Dream in black and white. These are kind of the details. And then Familiars of the Sky, which has smaller cuts of some of the bigger stickers, plus a couple more. I love this bat. I think it's really cool. And then just loads of extra little like leafy kind of stickers, which I think is neat. And then there's a couple of other ones. So Midnight Woodland, which has that little hedgehog again, and another robin and the Luna moth. Again, really cool little stickers. I love the art style that she's got. And then there's this dark academia one, which is really, really neat. A lot of these stickers I'm going to be saving for my 2024 journals, especially my reading journal, because I have kind of a vision of the aesthetic I want to go for in next year's reading journal, so I am like kind of saving them. And then it also came with this little print, which has a letter on the back, but I'm not going to show that because it has my name. That's that. And then the other one, which I absolutely love, bear with me, my cat is making noise. Come on. Hey, come on. There you go. Other shop I bought from was Lunaria Stickers. This is their little business card. I followed both of these shops on Instagram actually, but I didn't actually realise how like small Lunaria was, because they don't have that many followers on Instagram. I don't know how many like sales they have on their shop, but I really like the stuff that they kind of design. But I got these two as freebies. This is a really cool bookmark. Look at that. So that's going in my my little bookmark tin. I think that's really, really cool. I love that design. And then this cute little freebie set. And then this is basically just a pack of photo stickers. So it's just a bunch of like aesthetic kind of cottagecore sort of like stickers that I figured I could use for decoration. And then we have these sticker sheets, which I think are all really, really neat. So we've got these book ones, this kind of like gothic kind of one, this witch one. I love this one. I love the colors. I love this. It's so pretty. This is the sticker sheet that actually made me check out the shop, because it popped up in like my Etsy recommended and I was like, ooh, and then I just went scrolling and I bought so many. This like academia one. This one is also really cool. Another sort of like purple gothic. And then angel statues, which I think are sick. But yeah, they're all Lunaria. And I think they're really, really neat. Again, saving a lot of these for my 2024 journals and stuff, especially like, where are they? These two. I really want to use these two in sort of my main spreads. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to show off what I got. Hello, so this is probably going to be my last update of this vlog because it's Sunday, and I do plan to film another reading vlog over this coming week that will go up next week. But I wanted to give my reading updates because I did finish Realms of Wrath and Ruin, and I wanted to kind of like give my thoughts. I have posted my review on Storygraph and my kind of shortened down thoughts on Instagram, plus some of like the quotes that I like highlighted and some of like my random annotations off of my Kindle. So I will link both of those in the description, so you can go and have a look at them if you want, because I always manage to kind of forget to mention something, or there's other things that I will probably mention here that I didn't write down in either of my reviews. But in the end, I did give Realms of Wrath and Ruin a 2.75 star because I think objectively it was a 3 star, but the fact that it was like a disappointing read for me kind of made me lower it. It wasn't so low that it was like a 2.5 or a 2 star, but it was kind of just enough that it's like the disappointment did definitely affect my reading, because the end of the book was really solid. I think the beginning of the book and the end of the book were really, really strong, but the middle was just so weak that it kind of dragged everything else down, because it made getting to that good end part that was only like 70 pages kind of like, it almost didn't make it worth it. I think I've mentioned I will be continuing with the series when the third one comes out, because at this point I have to see it through to the end. Like I need to know. But yeah, Realms was definitely not the strongest. It wasn't as good as Cities, and I think I've been thinking about this a lot more because just like writing my reviews, I kind of write them quite immediately, but I've kind of had like a day sort of to kind of like mull over a bit more of why I don't think it worked quite as well. And I think it's because the plot wasn't quite as cohesive. Kind of where I think I mentioned Cities had really crowded world building, Realms kind of had really crowded acts and like arcs and stuff, and the plot just felt like too much was going on. There were too many moving pieces that weren't like meshing well together, to the point where like it felt like certain aspects were completely forgotten about and completely kind of put on the back burner until either the very end or it just wasn't brought up again. Kind of an example of this is more like a character focused one. So at the beginning of the story, it's mentioned quite a lot that Hallie can't draw anymore. She's missing a couple of fingers. She can't draw anymore because it brings her back to kind of like that really bad place of thinking about like the tragedy of what happens at the end of the first book. And you know, it's a big thing about her character that she can't draw anymore because she is the artist in the first book. But then we kind of get out of that first act and it's never brought up again. Like, it's never brought up to the fact that like Case never finds out that this is a thing that's going on. She never ever brings it up again. Like, we never get any mention of her sketchbook. We never get any mention of her hand again. Like, it was literally brought up at the start and then never mentioned again, to the point that I didn't remember that she was missing fingers until I was writing my review. Like, that's how little it was mentioned again. And like I've mentioned before about like the whole like refugee plot line, that nothing, we got nothing of that after like Case and Hallie left. Not even in Jove's point of view, which is more like in the actual city where things are happening. We don't get much out of him. I think at some point Jove's point of view became less
interesting mirroring of the brothers and like his relationship with his wife versus Case's relationship with Hallie, that kind of stopped being a thing, and it became more of a hindrance to my enjoyment of the plot, because Jove's point of view would always just be used to cut between action chapters with Case and Hallie's plotline and just interrupt them and interrupt the flow of that. And like while that can be done well, it wasn't done well in Realms. It was very jarring, the switch, because the tone of both like sections, both plot lines, was like really, really different to each other, and they didn't flow into one another really well. And I just don't think that like it didn't work, to be honest. It didn't work for me. I didn't like mesh with it. And yeah, like I do like Jove's character, and I liked where his development was going, but it's just his chapters were just not, they weren't working for me after a certain point. And that's like, you know, I don't know. Yeah. And even then, Case and Hallie's plotline, I feel like it didn't feel like they were doing anything. Because like a whole massive portion of like the plot is supposed to be that like Hallie is going to try and like see her parents, but that plotline doesn't start happening until about 150, 200 pages in, and then it's kind of like that's done and dusted, and other stuff is happening by page 450. So it's literally just kind of like this middle section is just, it feels like nothing, because yes, while I understand what the baseline plot was, but it just didn't feel like anything. It didn't feel like enough to warrant a whole book, basically. And it's like, even with like, you know, I can let go of like a lackluster plot sometimes if the characters or like the world building is really, really good. And like the characters were still really solid. I still really liked the relationship. We did get the development of Case and Hallie's relationship that I wanted, that I was hoping for. But there, you know, there's been a little bit of like separation by choice. It's not like by force or anything. But I'm kind of like, there's a couple of things that I'm a little bit worried about going into the third book. But other than that, like, there wasn't much world building going on, because we didn't learn much more anymore about the cells. We learned a bit more about the Yolvan culture and like stuff that was going on with them and why the cells like were looking for people, but even then still know nothing about the enemy that we're fighting, which I feel like is just really, really weird. Like, why don't we know anything? Like, I don't know, tell me what they're like, what is their reason, what is their purpose? Like, the only thing that we've got is that they're trying to like bring the world together, but it doesn't make any sense. Their entire like argument or like motives just don't feel realistic or like logical. Like, I can't in my head piece together what they're trying to do, and like I could barely do it in the last book, because in the first book it was very much like, oh, they're just trying to stop the party from finding out their secrets, and like I could reconcile with that. But in this book it just didn't feel like it. Like, what are they doing? I don't understand. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what their motives are. I don't know what we're fighting against, which I feel like is just, it takes away from, again, it's a plot thing. Like, I don't know what we're fighting for, so it's difficult for me to get invested in that when I don't know what the stakes are. Like, aside from, you know, a bunch of people might die, which is like, you know, pretty solid stakes, but other than that, it's like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what the overarching plot is supposed to be. And then other things was, I was going through my annotations again, and I found one of my annotations that was talking about Frankenstein, because in the first book, there is a classic that is brought up a lot, the Odyssey, and that is like weaved through the narrative. Like there's a lot of like mimicry with things that occur in the Odyssey occurring in cities, and like the book is brought up a lot, like the characters bond over it. Like it's a really good like kind of tie-in for the book to be mentioned so much. And the book that was mentioned, like the classic that was mentioned at the start of Realms and like through a little bit of the first act, was Frankenstein. And I was like, oh, okay, that kind of, I was, you know, starting to get ideas of like, okay, what kind of follow-up themes and what kind of like plot mimicry could happen with this, because Frankenstein is a really interesting novel and like the messages of it are really interesting and the themes. It's a really good book to study and read if you want to. I did for like my first year of my uni degree, and I was kind of excited because I was like, yeah, Frankenstein is like quite a shift from the Odyssey, but it kind of gives me the sense that we're going to lean more into like the sci-fi of the fantasy sci-fi. We didn't. Frankenstein was rarely brought up again after the first act. Through the second act, it just kind of feels like she dropped all of her playing cards and she couldn't pick them back up and piece them back together. I think the last time Frankenstein was mentioned was when Hallie lost her stuff, and it was just a mention of she'd lost her copy of Frankenstein in a snowstorm, and that was like it. That was the last time we heard Frankenstein. And like there were some things that like I could see the inspiration of, but not in the same way that I could with the Odyssey. And I think that was just another thing that kind of felt like a drop of a ball effectively. So yeah, 2.75 stars for Realms in Wrath and Ruin. Bit of a disappointing read. I'm really sad to give it that rating after I really enjoyed the first one. But that's my thoughts and opinions. Again, I'll put my story graph and my Instagram reviews in the description for that. And then I have The Fiction Between Us to continue. That much of it left to read, this much. I need to go back through and read my annotations to remember what I was reading, because this week I didn't read Thursday and Friday because Thursday I finished at 3 and then immediately went out to go to the fair, and then got back and had the worst sleep of my life. Friday because I didn't sleep well, I didn't have the energy to read in the morning, so I didn't, and then I went to work, and yes, I got sent home early, but I was still tired, so I went to bed. But Saturday morning, that's when I finished Realms, and I also got sent home early from work yesterday because I started earlier today because I was covering for a co-worker. So my duty manager was like, go home, go. You can clock off earlier if you want. And I was like, sound, I'll take that. So yeah, I like read a little bit and then I kind of binged the rest of Realms Saturday morning. And then this morning I pretty much got up and went to work immediately. I think tonight I'm deciding between continuing on with this or starting another Kindle read. I kind of like, I want to finish this because I want to start another physical book. I want to start either Only a Monster or any of my other like physical fantasy books, but I'm like, I don't know if I've got the energy. Like, I don't know if I want to like save this for starting next week and like just finishing it between like my days off, because I have another like bout of 3 to start off the week with, which will be nice. But then I also don't quite know what I want to read next on my Kindle. I have The Ever King by L.J. Andrews pulled up, but I'm still kind of deciding if I want to start that or Off the Hook, or if I want to wait to read Off the Hook for after I've finished Julie Olivia's other book. But I don't know. I'm at a loss. I'll decide if I get bored, but I'm watching a stream tomorrow, and like next week I'm going to be catching up on like 3 weeks worth of booktube content because I haven't watched much YouTube in the past few days. So I have a lot of videos to catch up on, and that'll be fun. Hopefully that'll motivate me to kind of like breeze through what I'm reading, maybe write a little bit, I don't know. But that's my update for basically the rest of this video. I doubt I'll read much more to kind of give you anything until the next video. So yeah, if you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe. I don't actually know where we're at, to be fair. We recently hit 300, which was yay. But yeah, if you want to stick around, feel free. I have many opinions on books, even though I don't read a lot. I try. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video, whatever that may be. Bye.